of idols. Full of idols. But obviously, they they definitely worshipped and celebrated Athena, the god of wisdom. One of the things that did strike me is they, talk about how quickly they built the temple, the Parthenon, as this symbol to how powerful Athena was in terms of wisdom and intellect. And it just started. It started making me think about the statement Jesus made, and he said, "Destroy this temple, and I'll build it. I'll rebuild it in 3 days." Now you have to understand, in Hebrew, three actually meant something. Anybody know what the number three meant in Hebrew? Wholeness and new life. Yeah. So the idea that Jesus is saying, "I will rebuild this temple in 3 days," that three is very significant because it's going to be in the resurrection and reach new life and wholeness, shalom. Okay, so here's Paul. Now, and what Fanny said was correct. I didn't go into it in Easter, but this was more of a form on trial. So it was for criminal, but it was also one of ideas where they would judge whether or not it was good. And so here they're going to bring Paul, and he's going to, in some sense, stand trial, not in a way where he was convicted that they're going to throw him in prison. They're just going to reject his teaching. But nevertheless, this is why there's a book called Paul on Trial, and it's talking about this whole idea in the pagan world that the gospel is on trial, whether or not it's true or not. So here's the passage, and we'll just read the passage. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, to the unknown gods who have been down there in the marketplace. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I'm going to proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, temples made by man." Now let that sink in, because you got a lot of temples up there where they think some gods dwell. On the other side of the Acropolis and below, there's the temple to Zeus. And so you have temples everywhere. And here, Paul is saying the God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by man, nor is he served by human hands as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place. Now, if you think about that and think about all of the places that we've been and the wars and, the one nation conquering another, and what he's saying, like this God, he's determined the boundaries and the allotment of times of where you live and dwell. And that they should seek God and perhaps feel their way towards him and find him. Yet he is actually not far from each one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being, which he's quoting from one of their own poets. For we are indeed his offspring, as he quotes another poet. Being then God's offspring, we ought not to think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of man. The times in ignorance God overlooked, but now he commands all people everywhere to repent, to do a 180, to completely change their mind and put their faith somewhere else. Because he has fixed a day on which he will judge the world in righteousness. So you think you're judging me and what I'm saying, but he is the ultimate judge who's going to judge the world in righteousness. And he's done so by a man whom he has appointed, and of this he has given assurance to all by raising him from the dead. Now then, they heard of the resurrection of the dead, and some mocked. But others said, "Well, we'll hear you again about this." So Paul went out from their midst, but some men joined him and believed, among whom also were Dionysius the Areopagite, and a woman named Damaris, and others with him. That happened there. Right here. The resurrection. To a bunch of people who believed in a plethora, pantheon of gods. He proclaimed one in his death and resurrection, how it's central, and how it's in that resurrection confirming that he is the judge that will judge the world in all righteousness. And the command is one command: to repent. turn around, change your mind, start following Him.